we started out with Dr. Carl Mack for our meditation. So this is meditation, March meditation. So we started out with Dr. Mack, and then the following week we started with Dr. Kofi Kandwani. Last week we had Dr. Ushaka Ra Nebhu Ampu, and today, and leading us in a meditation opening on Sunday, is Wayne Chandler. And you know, he's a personal friend, and I got a chance to meet him. And so before I read his bio, I did a little PowerPoint, and hopefully that's not over the top, but I want to share some things. Hey, Bertha Rose, all the way from Atlanta. Give thanks for that, Minister Amadi, Brother Damani. So we're getting some good participation. So I made this little PowerPoint. So here's Brother Wayne Chandler, is MA, CPH, and CSE. And these are many phases of him. He's a protege of Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. I first found out about Wayne reading the Journal of African Civilizations. And he's also an anthrophotojournalist. And some of you may recall the original 365 Days of Black History calendar. Those rare photographs, those were Wayne's photographs. Many of them were Wayne's photographs, really kind of one of a kind. Of course, he's the author of Ancient Future, the teachings and prophetic wisdom of the 7 Hermetic laws of ancient Egypt. And Brother Katabazi, Wayne, you may be happy to know that one of our members for the historical tribute did a portion of your book, Ancient Future. And in Ancient Future, he's got an introduction to the 7 Hermetic axioms of Tahuti, principle of mentalism and the concept of the all, principle of correspondence, principle of vibration, principle of polarity, principle of gender, principle of rhythm, and principle of causation. So when you read this book, you get a really broad spectrum of the Hermetic laws. Here's one of the quotes. The principle of vibration, we learn from this principle that there are experiences that surround us and involve us, of which we can be totally unaware. And that quote alone is something to ponder and think about. He's also, let me lower this bar here. Will it lower? Yeah. So he's also a capoeirista. He's a maestro in capoeira. And I would hate to be on the other end of that Nike strike. He leads tours to Kemet. And I believe that's Brother Wasir on the right in the white shirt. So he leads tours to Kemet. And we experienced him a number of years ago at our Mount Shasta retreat. And here's a large number of the group there. And here he's showing us the healing sounds. And some of you may recognize there's Mama Ngina there, and Sister Akanke, and there's Aziza. And so there's Sister Bobby there. So, we've actually had a really good experience with Brother Wayne throughout the years. Here he is. He's showing us some healing sounds. And he's visited us in Wose, Sacramento. And here he is with Brother Nehesu. And here he is with Brother Alaman, Minister Makalisi, and myself. And here, you know, he's actually glowing when he's doing this instruction. So big up to Brother Wayne. I want to read his bio now. And so Wayne Chandler, MS, CPH, and SCE, is a public figure and author of Ancient Future, the teachings of prophetic wisdom of the seven hermetic laws of ancient Egypt, the brighter side of darkness, a light warrior's guide to inner alchemy and spiritual transformation. He is certified in the powerful healing techniques of bioelectric energy management systems, pranic healing, and medical qigong under the tutelage of Master Stephen Coe and Sybil Baker. He is also accomplished in spiritual sexual alchemy, core energetics, and brainwave therapy, as instructed by Mantak Chia and Miss Minke DeVos, author of Tao Tantric Arts for Women. He is certified in Tao Tina, one of the pillars of traditional Chinese medical science, and the Tao Yin Yoga as taught by Mantak Chia. Chandler's foray into yoga science began in 1970 under the great master who brought yoga to the West, Swami Vishnu Divi-Ananda. From this master, he learned the Shiva Ananda system. Chandler would go on to further his studies in this system from Master Swami Satchi Ananda, the master teacher of Alice Coltrane. In the 80s, he began studying Iyengar under John Schumacher in Washington, D.C., and in the early 90s, he met master teacher Yasir Rahotep, who exposed him to Kemetic yoga, an ancient African yoga system whose origins were in ancient Egypt. Chandler helped in the refinement of Yasir's breathing principles, Chi Chari Mudra, which vastly created more depth as an aid in transforming of consciousness. Extracurricular activities are the martial arts, and Chandler performed and toured with legendary jazz pianist Randy Weston, their latest CD, The African Nubian Suite. And for more biographical insights, Wayne Chandler's website is waynebchandler.com. And without further ado, it is my distinct pleasure to present my friend, my brother, a great teacher of the African community, Wayne Chandler.
Thank you, my brother. Yeah, that was tight. That was tight. It's great to be here, just to get the offer to speak to you via MO. That in itself is an honor. We used to do things together in 3D, but since the age of Corona, everything now is Zoom ready.
Yes, yes.
And I'm still locked into Skype, you know, but I've been forced out of Skype, and now I'm Zoom ready like everybody else. So I wanted to start off with an ancient saying that comes out of the original Blacks in the samurai tradition out of Japan, that says, "It is said that which is called the spirit of an age is something to which one cannot return." That this spirit dissipates is due to the world's coming to an end. Though one would like to change today's world back to the spirit of 5,000 years ago or more, it cannot be done. Therefore, we must make the best out of every generation. And what that alludes to are the different cyclical processes that we undergo on this planet as a race on this planet. And right now, we're in a very, very deep and profound cyclical event that is moving us into a totally different sphere and experience regarding consciousness. And in that process, the process has been going on for quite some time, but now it has become uh, very obvious to those who just want to open one eye. You don't even have to have both eyes open to see and experience what's transpiring right now in the world. But you know, if you just have one eye open, that there's something, of great gravity that is up and appearing before the entire global eye of humanity. And these changes right now, you can't move into a positive shift in consciousness without some pushback, because we've been living in an age that in the East Indian tradition of the Kali Yuga, they call it, really it's the Manvantara. The Kali Yuga is a particular cycle in the Manvantara. And in the Manvantara, it breaks down these various cyclical experiences that humanity undergoes. The last of those experiences is the Kali Yuga, of which we have been in for a little over 5,000 years, almost 6,000 years. And Kali Yuga means the age of darkness. Now, in the African systems, you have similar cyclical breakdowns, which are called Ugas. And the first of those Ugas is the Uga Aka. And these are out of the Igbo tradition of West Africa. The second of these traditions is the Uga Chi. And the third is the Uga Anwu. And then the fourth in the system of the Igbo is the Uga Azi. And the Uga Azi corresponds with the Kali Yuga, and that it's an age, of ignorance, age of darkness, age of deception and manipulation. So this is what we've been dealing with for about the last 4,000 years. And it's been an intense undertaking. And now we're moving off and moving into a much greater cyclical process that is about attempting to download higher frequencies into the consciousness of humanity. And these frequencies are given to us in a variety of different manner and means. One way is planetary. There's also the terrestrial process of just pulling, engendering, absorbing energy frequencies from the earth itself. And then there is, the various downloads that we get directly from the sun. And from the earth, we have what's called the Schumann resonance. And the Schumann resonance or pulse is a pulse that was identified some years ago by the military. And at that time, when it was identified in 1980, the pulse was at 7.83 cycles per second. Now, this pulse or resonance, they refer to as the heartbeat of the earth. Now, what's fascinating about the Schumann resonance is that in 1980, it was, as I said a second ago, 7.83 cycles per second. Now, a lot of people began to study the Schumann resonance around 1984. And they said after about a 13-year period that the Schumann resonance, if it got to 12 point cycles per second, then that was going to be 0 point, and it was going to create an entire shift in humanity regarding consciousness, but also the planet itself. Now, we have long since passed 12 cycles per second. And what I've come to realize in my own personal investigations regarding the Schumann resonance is that the Schumann resonance actually calibrates time in its relationship to consciousness. And the Schumann resonance has been accelerating exponentially since 1984. So what we're looking at right now is a profound movement, and you all experience this every single day, every minute, every hour of every day. You experience the Schumann resonance because your days are shorter. And at the end of every given day, you're asking yourself, where did the time go? Because you're feeling the acceleration of time. And that's what the Schumann resonance imparts to humanity, to our conscious perspective of time, that time is speeding up. But in reality, it's not time that is speeding up. It's the creative process that's accelerating. So now the Schumann resonance is in flux between 40 cycles per second to 60 cycles per second, meaning that all events that are happening on this planet are expedited exponentially. So what used to take a year to transpire, to happen, to manifest, now only takes a month or two to actually fall into manifestation. So everything that we're going through right now is leading us to a point in our future that's all about the development and the expansion of consciousness. In an obvious scientific manner, this began to take place in 2019 on December 21st. Prior to 2019, December 21st, we had been operating or beginning our passage through what's called the null portion of the photon belt. We officially entered the photon belt December 21st, 2019. Now, I talk about the photon belt in Ancient Future, I believe begins on page 199. And I talk about our journey, our process through the photon belt and what the photon belt signifies. It implies a massive shift in the consciousness of all of humanity by activating certain neurotransmitters in the brain that begins to move consciousness and expand consciousness into a much greater construct reflecting divine integration and humanity. So right now, because there's always the yin and the yang, there's always the light and the dark, the day and the night. So as we push towards a greater sense of revelation, we have those entities out here that have been in control for the last 4,000 years, pushing back. And so it becomes imperative to like align oneself with harmonious accord, with universal frequency, because the pushback that's being generated at this particular time is intense. And there's a program in place that it's all about a massive removal of a large percentage of the population of the world. And there are a variety of in-game constructs, but probably the greatest is the vaccine. So what we have to do, what we need to do is to begin to create an internal environment that has its own degree of protective resonance that will help to create shields within and around the body. Every day, we're put upon by different electromagnetic fields. We're dealing with 5G, 4G. And now, which a lot of people don't realize, is the coming of 6G. 6G is coming from up above. They're already setting the satellites in place that will download and project frequencies that will go directly into your various forms of technology, such as your televisions, your phones, your computers. 6G is going to go live before we get out of 2021. And Tesla is one of the individuals that's leading the charge with 6G, as well as Bezos. 6G is going to be a mother. It's going to literally saturate the planet in this frequency. So again, it's going to become imperative. Now, when you look at EM fields, the thing with EM fields is that they suppress melatonin. The basal fields that we are exposed to don't really do that much damage. Those are the old school technologies that we've been pretty much familiar with. The type of radio frequencies that we turn on old television sets that, they made everybody take out of their house and replace with flat screens. Um, those fields and technologies emitted, they really didn't do a lot. But the ones that we're dealing with right now, the 5G, the 4G, the technologies that project those kinds of, EMF fields, they literally alter brain physiology. And again, in that altering, they dumb down the resonance that certain glands in the brain have that discharge and chemically release these different compounds into the brain for various activities, whether it's sleeping in our downtime or whether it's being in our wakeful hours, being able to function and move with vast degrees of clarity, or whether it's being integrated into your spiritual practice and having the activation take place within the pituitary and pineal glands with the release of anandamide and pituitrin or dimethyltryptamine, or what they refer to as DMT. So when you look at like just melatonin, this is one of the body's like most important defenses against oxidative stress, inflammation in various areas of the body, and specifically the brain, long-term effects of melatonin disruption, cause neurological disease. And this is one of the things that, these EM fields that we're saturated with, that we deal with on a daily basis, are now creating. Immunological diseases, when you have a lack of melatonin, heart disorders, metabolic disease, sexual dysfunction, cancer. These are all things that when you have melatonin in deficit, that happen in the human body. So what we want to do tonight is really begin, well, it's tonight for me, that's right. It's just late afternoon for y'all. But what we want to do is begin to look at how we can refine and cultivate different energy pathways in our bodies to create pushback with respect to these EM fields, with respect to, a lot of the different programs that they are trying to subject us to, so that, we have a high quality, maintain a high quality of living and operating in the world. So we're going to focus on the breath tonight. That's what our focus is going to be. So the first thing we're going to do is get into what is referred to as alternate nostril breath work. Now, alternate nostril is fascinating in the sense that it really, when you look it up, it'll tell you that its purpose is clearing the nadis. And the nadis are these subtle tubes that transfer life force or chi from one part of the body to another. But the real purpose of, and I'm not saying that doesn't happen, because it does. It clears and it balances these subtle energy tubes that transfer chi or life force from one part of the body to another. But the main reason for Nali Sudi, or the alternate nostril process, is the expansion of the central channel in the human body. So on either side of the central channel, which runs down the front of the body, on either side of that, you have two smaller channels referred to in the Indian tradition as Ida and Pingala. They correspond to the autonomic nervous system. Now, when you do alternate nostril, the longer you hold the breath in one channel on the left or one channel on the right, the longer the breath is immobile in those channels, the wider the central channel becomes, and the deeper this channel extends into what is called the impartial mind. The impartial mind is that area of the subconscious that dictates manifestation. It's that one area in the subconscious that allows the creative process to manifest from the higher realm into 3D. It's that area in the subconscious that allows the attraction of abundance and the manifestation of intent. Now, we're going to start with the basics of this particular practice, but I'm going to give you the entire formula. And the entire formula is that you begin with closing off one nostril and then another. Eventually, you're going to just take a finger, inhale, close off that nostril, inhale into the opposite. And you're just going to hold it for as long as it's comfortable. Then you're going to close off that nostril, inhale into the other. Relax and hold it for as long as you can, as long as it's comfortable. Because the longer the breath stays immobile in one of those two channels, the wider and deeper the central channel becomes. And the more power you generate and create for the ability of manifestation. So we're going to start with this particular, if you can see my hands, with the thumb, you're going to close off the right nostril. You're going to take one of the bent fingers, extend it, and place it right between the brows, right on the pituitary gland. You're going to inhale to a count of 6 into the left nostril. Now, what's very important in all breathing practices is what is called Kachari Mudra, or tongue connection. Tongue connection is what allows the energy to move properly through the channels of the body. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can drop this picture to you, and this will give you a visual. I don't know, can you see that?
That's the microcosmic orbit.
That's the microcosmic orbit.
Wayne, is that the microcosmic orbit?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
So
I can see it.
what you're looking at is a channel that runs up the back and down the front. So when you apply Kachari Mudra, which is tongue connection, you literally are connecting these two channels. So you have the tip of your tongue going along the ridge that's on the roof of the mouth. So if you take the tip of your tongue now and put it on the roof of the mouth, you're going to feel a ridge. If you can take the tongue and move it all the way back to where the hard palate kind of dips and becomes soft and fleshy, that's the desired point. If you cannot get the tip of the tongue back there, don't worry about it. Just put the tip anywhere along that ridge. Because once you take the tip of the tongue and you connect it to that ridge on the roof of the mouth, you're connecting the front circuit that runs up your back, and the front circuit that runs down the center of your body, and the back circuit that runs up the back body. You're now connecting those two circuits. So now you have a continuous flow of life force energy that's spiraling through your body. And this is the power of Kachari Mudra.
Wayne,
Connection.
Wayne,
Yes. Yeah.
can I pause you for a minute? I have it on my screen now, and I'd like to share a couple of things that you've already shared with us. The yugas, the nadis, and the microcosmic orbit. So just take a second.
Okay, yeah, please.
Okay, all right. So when Wayne is talking about the yugas, this part here is our sun, and it's going around this central sun. And when we get closer to it, our consciousness increases. And the closer to it is called the Satya Yuga, and Satya is a word that means truth. These are the nadis. Let's see. These are the nadis that he's referring to. the 72,000 energy channels in the body, and this the central one, the Sushumna, that he's describing. And then lastly, here's the microcosmic orbit that he's talking about. Wayne is responsible for me finding out about this. I thought we just had chakras just up and down the spine, but no, it goes continually around the body. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was awesome. That was awesome. So with the different yugas, as Mo said, as we get closer to the central sun is referred to or known as Alcyone. That's the central sun of our galaxy. And as we get closer to that, we move into the higher yugas. Now, the Kali Yuga is 432,000 years long. 432,000. We've only jumped into like the first 6,000 years. But this is the thing about the Kali Yuga or the Yuga Azi. Each yuga that is in this cyclical formula is contained within the Kali. Each one. So it's not like we have to traverse consistent density and darkness nonstop. We get breaks, and we're coming up on a break now. That's what's happening. We're now coming up on a break, and in this break will last for about 2,000 years. And for 2,000 years, we'll be able to do what it is that we need to do with the expansion of our consciousness, our awareness, and to lift and move humanity as a whole into a deeper, more expansive place. Now, what's important to recognize is that this shift is about evolution. It's not about everybody's going to wake up and be enlightened. It ain't about that. It's about evolution, which means that humanity is about to take a step forward in its own design of functionality as a human being. That does not denote that that shift or step forward is indicative or of divine integration with higher consciousness. And that needs to be really understood, which means you're still going to have those who are locked into their own formula of how to navigate, this particular expression of humanity, and those who are spiritually integrated and energetically locked in to a greater, more divine construct regarding consciousness. So with this, the first thing we're going to do is move and activate and deepen these nadis. So we close off the right nostril. We connect the tongue. Place the tongue on the ridge, on the roof of the mouth. Extend one of the bent fingers that's closest to the thumb and place it right on the pituitary or ajna area between the mid-brow point. You're going to inhale to a count of 6. So on my mark, tongue connected, fingers positioned. Inhale to a count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and hold to a count of 3. 2, 3. Exhale to a count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold to a count of 3. 2, 3. Inhale into the right to a count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold to a count of 3. 2, 3. Exhale into the left to a count of 6. Inhale into the left to a count of 6. Hold to a count of 3. Block off the left. Exhale into the right to a count of 6. Hold to a count of 3. Inhale into the right to a count of 6. Hold to a count of 3. Exhale into the left to a count of 6. Hold to a count of 3. Inhale into the left, blocking off the right to a count of 6. Hold to a count of 3. Block off the left. Exhale into the right to a count of 6. Hold to a count of 3. Follow at your own pace. Keep your breath controlled. Keep it at ease. Don't strain. Stay relaxed. Okay, and relax. How did that feel? How do you feel? Okay, so we're going to do,
Wayne, could you
yes,
let before you go on, there may be a couple of people that want to comment.
sure.
Just briefly, you know, concisely. Is there one that wants to make a comment? Go ahead.
Yeah, just raise your hand.
Take yourself off mute or. Okay, I just want to say, Wayne. You know, I didn't tell Wayne what to do for this class, and it's interesting. We have been doing a form of pranayama um, for you know many weeks, and this is a great addition to what you're showing us. So it's just showing us that it's all one spirit, and if there's no further comments, Brother Wayne, please continue.
Okay, so from here, what we're going to do is now you're just going to inhale into the one channel. Tongue is connected. And you're just going to hold it for as long as it's comfortable. There's no numerical sequencing or retention. You're just going to inhale and hold.
Which nostril are we holding?
Always block off the right first and inhale into the left. Now, this time, when you inhale, tongue connected, I want you to work your process of visualization. So when you inhale into the left, tongue connected, I want you to visualize that breath being a blue color. And when you exhale out of the right and back into the right, I want you to visualize that particular breath being a light red or dark pink color. And slowly come out and relax. Lazima has a question. Lazima, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Brother Lazima?
Maybe they fell asleep. So how are you feeling? How's everybody feeling?
Feel good, feel relaxed.
Hey,
Good.
Wayne, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Wayne. I wasn't asleep. I'm just getting used to my laptop,
Uh-huh.
but I'm
To
feeling
Zoom?
fine. It's so wonderful to see you, my brother. It's been 20 years since I saw you, but I've been doing alternate breathing now for about 20 years. But you're giving me a new and in-depth perspective on it. I really appreciate it. I'm enjoying everything.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir.
So let's do the 3-sectional breath, which is utilizing the entire lung. Have you gone over this with them, Memo?
No, no, no.
Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to first start breathing in the lower abdomen around the navel. Again, connect your tongue. Make sure you have Kachari Mudra in place. You're going to inhale just in around the navel. That's the first stage. Inhale, expand that area. Exhale, feel it deflate. Inhale, expand. Exhale, deflate. Stay relaxed in your breath. This breathing technique is going to put 7 times the amount of oxygen into your body, which is going to infuse and build greater, stronger immunity in your system, because how it invigorates every cell in your body. Staying relaxed. Inhale in and around the navel. Exhale. Make sure your breath is controlled. When you're finding like a fluttering or a cessation or choppiness to your breath, that's directly feeding into different areas, emotional fields that you're working with, issues you're working through that could be fear related, stress related, anxiety related, and you want to push through those. And the best way to push through those is with the breath. Now, keeping that breathing process at play, I want you to now just focus on the midsection of your body. Just the midsection. So what we just finished doing was filling the lower portion of the lung. Now we're moving into the mid portion of the lung. So focus on the midsection of your body, and on your next inhalation from the navel area, you're going to bring the breath up into the midsection of the body around the rib cage. You can actually lightly expand the ribs on the side to make sure you're getting the breath integrated into that area. Make sure your tongue is on the ridge, the roof of the mouth. So now you're inhaling from the area around the navel, bringing the breath up into the midsection of the body in the rib cage. Now you're feeling the lower and middle section of your lungs with the breath. When your bodies are well oxygenated, there's no viral entity that can sustain itself in a well oxygenated system. Breathing like this, as I said, you get 7 times the amount of oxygen into the body via full lung expansion. Now, maintaining this process, inhaling into the lower around the navel, bringing it up into the midsection of the body. I want you to focus on the upper portion of the chest. And on your next inhalation, you're going to inhale beginning at the navel, bringing it into the midsection of the body. And now you're going to inhale the breath up into the upper portion of the chest. And now you are filling the lower portion of the lung, the mid portion of the lung, and the upper portion of the lung. You now have full lung capacity in your breath work. If you want to make sure you're getting that last bit of breath up into the upper portion of the lung, you can actually just kind of lift your shoulders a little bit. Make sure you're getting that breath all the way up in there. You want to make sure incrementally you're getting the same amount of breath into the lower, mid, and upper. So if you inhale too deeply into the lower and the middle, you're not going to have enough breath for the upper. So you want to measure your breath to make sure you're getting equal amounts in all three sections. And slowly come out. How many of you could get full lung expansion? Fill all three sections of your lung.
I did.
Awesome. How did that feel?
Question to me.
Very relaxing, empowering, and I actually almost fell out of my chair. So I was very relaxed.
Good. Falling out the chair is a good thing. So next we're going to move into kidney breathing. What time do we have, Emma?
You know, you read my mind. So we have about 14 minutes left.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what we're going to do, we're going to go straight into kidney packing. Because kidney packing, it activates the pituitary gland, which makes the pituitary secrete. Some people refer to it as a hormone, but it's a biochemical compound called anandamide. They refer to it as the bliss hormone. And anandamide, when it's brought into activation, it literally activates the ajna chakra that sits over the pituitary gland. So when you practice this particular breathing sequence on a regular basis, it's going to activate the ajna chakra, which is going to give you a stronger sense of extrasensory perception, or what we refer to as ESP. So when you do the kidney packing, there are two meridians that run up the back body that connect, come around and connect into two pea-sized small glands on either side of the brain called the amygdala. The more you do the breath work, the more the amygdala become filled with energy. Once they become saturated with the chi, they then move that chi around the front of the head directly into the pituitary gland. And the pituitary gland begins to absorb this bountiful chi that you're creating in the kidneys through doing the kidney packing. So for the kidney packing, you want to come to the edge of your seat. The first thing you want to do is connect the tongue. That's most important. The first thing you want to do is connect the tongue. Now you want to breathe just from the lower portion of the bottom of the belly. So around the navel, tongue connected. You want to inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. On your third exhalation, you're going to lean forward. The elbows turn out, the hands turn in. They're right beneath the knee. So you have this kind of a position. You're going to inhale into your kidneys from this position. Tongue connected, body at an angle. Inhale once and hold. Inhale again and hold. Inhale one more time and hold. Now, holding the breath, you're going to sit straight up and holding the breath for about 7 seconds. You're now going to exhale the breath. So again, you're going to first breathe 3 times from the lower abdomen around the navel. On the exhalation of the third breath, you're going to lean forward. And you're going to inhale into the kidneys in the back body. Inhale 1 and hold. That's your first pack. Inhale 2 and hold. That's your second pack. Inhale 3 and hold. That's your third pack. You're going to now hold the breath, sitting straight up and exhale.